I didn't start it, so that's okay. It says it's being recorded.
Okay. So
The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, FRC Canada. It's John Hobbins here, Regional Director for Ontario. And I've got my colleague, Superstar FSM Paul Keenan, joining me to help out. And we want to do whatever we can to try to provide some guidance for you around the FRC event selection going forward with the new process that headquarters and Frank Merrick have devised that they say will make things much more equitable for everyone choosing their events. It's important for us to understand that First Canada is doing what we can to help you tonight and to guiding you through the process, but we are in no way wanting to put ourselves in a position where we're responsible for the decisions that you make, the choices that you make for your event selections. And as I say, just to finish off that disclaimer that First Canada assumes no responsibility for decisions made by individual teams. We do have a question box that you guys can access that if you populate questions in there throughout this session tonight, myself and Paul Keenan will have a good look at those questions and try to answer them the best way we can. Also, we've gone ahead and brought in some of those questions that were previously sent to us so that we could respond to them through the webinar in addition to anything that you might add during the evening tonight. Okay, hopefully you can see the screen here. Paul, are you showing your screen or is it my screen that the audience would see?
they'll see my screen.
Okay, great. So can you move to the next slide, Paul?
Yep.
So we just thought we'd make sure that everybody's aware of when the events are located this year, what weekend they're on. And some take note that some of the weekends we have two events. So for example, week 1, which is March 2nd to 4, we have Durham College and Georgian College both on the same weekend. Week 2, you'll notice, is not on the slide because we have no events in week 2 this year. But on week 3, we have the Ryerson event. And just to take note with week 3, March 15th to 17th, that should tweak your interest because that you and your teachers will be off during that week because it is the March break. Week 4, which is March 23rd to the 25th, we have Waterloo and York University on the same weekend. Take note that Waterloo, although it says 23 to 25, will be the day before. Those are staggered start events, with York following on the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Waterloo on the Thursday, Friday, Saturday. March 5th, we have another duplicate event weekend where we have North Bay and Windsor, March 29th to the 31st, and I absolutely know that many of my friends out there in the separate school boards will know that that happens to be Easter weekend. What a great opportunity to be able to get away and miss as few days as possible from your school. Week 6, we somewhat wrap up the season as far as the district events go with McMaster and Western, two brand new events from last year that were stellar events, and they are both on the same weekend, and that would be the weekend of April 6th to 8th. It is important for you to know that as we go through this process that have been clearly outlined by Frank's emails to all team lead mentors, also through the blog that he posts, and there are updates on the blog in addition to questions and answers so that people can be kept up to date as much as possible. You can see on the screen here that the Event 1 registration will start on September 21st, but unlike before, it's a full week long where you could actually think about it for a day, or you could go in and choose an event or put a couple of events down on your list and then go back in and change them before that week is over. And part of the reasoning behind that is to give the equity to different countries that have different time zones than us so that everybody can relax and be able to get to that task of selecting the events they want and feeling as though no one's had any advantage over anyone else. You will be notified on the 29th, so the day after that event, on your success for entering that event, or if in fact you are in a waitlisted situation. October 3rd to the 11th is your period of time where we call it the initial event registration reopens. You could go back in and you could, if you have a concern with something that during that time, you can request some changes. That would be the time where you would consider contacting myself as the regional director. If you had a problem that you thought was a valid concern that needed addressing or mitigating because of its uniqueness. The second event registration would be October 12th to the 19th, and the process follows the same. On the 20th, you get your notification. Following that, another week later, there will be unrestricted registration that opens on November 2nd for those of you that either signed up late, registered late, didn't get your YPPs completed, didn't finish your dashboards, and so many other issues that could occur. But you're at this point and you want to actually sign up, or you want to sign up for more events, for those very few teams that would look at signing up for a third event, and possibly a team that might want to go to a regional event as a third event rather than a third district event as another third district. But keeping in mind that that third district event does not count towards points in any which way for your point status to qualify you for the district championship. All right, Paul, can we go to the next slide there? I'm going to ask Paul to jump in here on this slide. Oh,
Okay.
Do you want to cover a couple of these, Paul?
Right, so I checked 145 teams this morning to see how many were actually ready for registration, meaning that they would be able to go into their dashboard and the registration would be active on the 21st. And of the 145 teams, 56 right now are ready to go. And most of it is, sorry, go ahead, John.
Sorry, Paul, I'm just going to jump in and have a bit of a conversation with you on this, because I think that'll help enlighten the audience a little bit. So are you saying that if I happen to be one of those 90 teams that have not fulfilled the criteria, I would not be allowed to select an event on the 21st?
That's right. You would not even have that box active on your screen. It would be grayed out, so you couldn't click on it.
Wow, and so how would I know if I'm a newer coach or a mentor on the team, or if I'm somebody who's just taken over a new role on that team? How would I be able to find out what things are missing if I wanted to follow up this webinar and go check my dashboard?
Well, what you would have to do is go into your dashboard, and when you go into your dashboard, and mine has a lot of teams in, but you're going to see outstanding tasks right here for your team. So this is one of the teams that I'm associated with. So if I go to outstanding tasks, it says, please complete team profile. So there are things that each mentor, who's lead mentor 1 or lead mentor 2, has to do each year. And if they don't do them, then it's going to come up here as an outstanding task. So if you have outstanding tasks here, you need to complete them. If you don't, then you will not be able to register for an event until you do complete them.
Excellent. So I think that's a real good slide to show the audience, because as you say, you've gone in and you've noticed that at least 90 teams do not qualify at this point to register for an event.
Right. Yes. And most of them, the reason why this slide is here like this is most of them are based on this. Actually, the vast majority of them are the first two, where you just haven't gone into your dashboard yet, either mentor, and you haven't clicked on that you agree to your terms and conditions. There are some new mentors that would have to do their YPP, the youth protection plan, and that has to be done. All of these things have to be done for both lead coach mentors 1 and 2. Now you might have many other mentors, but it only has to be for the ones that are identified as lead coach mentor 1 and lead coach mentor 2.
So Paul, I know that last year, I can recall that there were quite a few teams that did not have both mentors pass the YPP a few days before the registration process, so everybody was cramming, trying to get it all done at once, and then they missed that initial day of getting the YPP cleared so that they could select that event. Hopefully, anybody in that situation this year won't be impacted as greatly because they will still be able to register on day 2, 3, 4 of that week that they have without any further impact.
Yeah, it was crazy trying to get people done in time for pressing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Excellent. So hopefully everybody knows now. When you looked at your 145 teams, did you notice or did you have a look at any of the rookie teams, the 19 rookie teams we have, to see if they were fully? I
think there was complete? One. There was one rookie team that was completely done.
Wow. Okay, so we need to address them too. Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, so perhaps we'll go on to the next slide, and this is a very informative slide we have here for the audience. So before I go into the details of this slide, it's very important for me to just express to you that in my talks with headquarters, with Frank Merrick, the numerous conversations Paul and I have had and the other FIRST staff here in Ontario on how we could best help you understand what you need to do and what's in front of you with this event registration process. It's pretty straight ahead and pretty simple as this. Choose the event that you want. There were times out there where teams get risky and they say, perhaps I'm not going to select this event because Joe's going to go to that event, so I'll select this other one. And then if Joe doesn't take the other one, I'll switch back to that first event, that type of scenario.